Yo, what's up with you guys? Welcome back to another video. It's Tubeline, and I hope you guys are having a great day so far. And as y'all can tell by this title, man, I'm trying to teach you guys how to make 100,000. And before we get into this is just my theory. I've talked to a lot of people that cut hair, and so every single person has told me this is possible, and this is not even something I think is doable. It's most definitely doable. I just haven't done it yet, so I want to disclose that before I tell you guys, that I've done it, when in reality I have not yet. But this right here is my plan on how to make 100,000 in 2022. And let's just go, bro. So I have to pull out a calculator. The reason I haven't made this video specifically is because my other phone had broke. So I need to get a camera, and I haven't done it yet, which is nobody's fault but mine. So I'm gonna have to use a calculator to show you guys the numbers, and to show you guys that this is possible. You guys can do the numbers on yourself, to see, whether my numbers add up, if you guys are, worried about it. Guys, is gonna be, as a barber, somebody who cuts hair in the current age in 2022. Next year, a lot of things are probably gonna change. As you guys can tell, inflation is crazy. We're spending so much more money. First thing we gotta do is, what's a booked day to you guys, man? A lot of you guys are setting this as a low standard. I think a lot of people are saying, oh, 11 to 12 days is a really booked day for me. I'm super busy. And I mean, if that's you, then you're going to be able to get to, 100K. You just have to either charge more, which I do not recommend. That's not how you want to, reach that mark. But that's the only way you're going to either get it, or two, you're going to have to work more days in the week. That's all up to you guys, bro. But for me personally, I want to do, I don't want to do either of those, man. I don't care to charge my client more to make more money. I'm more looking into other things that are going to pay me that doesn't come from my client's pocket. Two, I don't want to work more days. I'd rather work, I'm doing all this in 5 days. So for me, a book day is 16 haircuts. I have to do 30-minute haircuts, in an 8-hour shift, because I don't want to work extra. I'm just talking about a regular 8-hour shift. Obviously a 30-minute lunch or whatever, how long you want to take. But as far as the cutting aspect, you're going to be cutting for 8 hours, and you're going to be doing 30-minute appointments. And so if you do that math, it's 16 haircuts in a day. Obviously, if you want to work more, you can. It just depends on how hungry you are and what goals you're trying to achieve. The faster you can do it, right? But so this isn't easy, but I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna do it. And let's just run down the numbers first. All right, so I got my calculator, and we're gonna go ahead and turn it on. Basically, we're gonna go and do 16 haircuts, all right, times 5. So what this is you do 16 haircuts a day times the 5 days you work in 1 week, okay? So if you guys can see that number, let's see if you guys can see that. 16 times 5, and when you equal it, that is 80. Sorry about this. It looks inverted, but it's 80. I wish I had my phone with me. This video would be so much easier. But so you're gonna do 80 haircuts. So that means you have to do 80 haircuts a week, and that's what I'm gonna multiply by whatever you charge. So at the moment, I charge $30 a haircut. So let's just do 30 times 80. All right, you guys, I had to switch it so that you guys can see. But look, this is the calculator. We're gonna go do 30 times 80. So this is how much you're making weekly. If you're doing 80 haircuts a week and you multiply that by 30 without tip, you're making 2,400. Now, if that's how much you're making a week, 2,400, go down, you go 2,400 times, there are 52 weeks in a year. So assuming you worked every single week, this is how much you can make. It's $124,800. Now, right there, if you're booked out at $30, you're making $124,000, assuming you work every single week. But let's just say you don't work every single week. Let's just say you work, 50 weeks out of the year. Now let's go check that. If you made 50 weeks out of the year, you're gonna do 50 times 2,400, and you're still making 120,000. you're making 20,000 on 50 weeks. Now let's see how many weeks you need to work to be at the bare minimum. And you're gonna time this by weeks. So let's just say 45 weeks out of the year. You're still making 108,000. And that right there is without working 7 weeks out of the year. Because remember, there's 52 weeks in a year. So that's without working 7 weeks in a year. How many people do you know take 7 weeks off in a year? Ask yourself that question. And this is without tip. This is without tip. And so I'm the reason I show you guys this is because this is very, very doable. And I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do it. But I want to pair the bare minimum how to make this amount of money. And I'm going to go ahead and show you now. So this is with 45. We're going to go with 2,400 times, let's just do 42. And right there, you're making 100,000 if you work 42 weeks out of the year. And let me tell you, that's 10 weeks out of the year you're not working if you're booked out. Keep in mind, that's if you're booked out. If you do that every single day, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the method on how you guys can get booked every single day. But let me go ahead and show you guys higher numbers just because I want to show you guys how doable this really is. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the higher numbers once I show you guys how to even get booked. Like I said, I'm not booked yet, but it's in the works, man. I know, like I said, I've talked to many barbers and they're successful and they all say the same thing. It's very doable. Now, one reminder is that I am not booked yet and that I'm not making 100,000 yet as a barber. So, like I said, keep this all with a grain of salt. This is what I've learned by looking and trying to find the information out there. This is what I've learned, and so I'm trying to bring it to you guys to share what I've learned. And this is my goal, and this is my plan to make 100,000 in 2022. So in order to do this, I showed you guys you need to be booked out. All right, 16 haircuts. So a lot of people may not be able to do 30-minute haircuts. A lot of people are telling me, "Yo, Raul, 16 haircuts a day, bro. That's overkill, bro. You're killing yourself if you're doing 30-minute haircuts. Not 30-minute haircuts. You're killing yourself if you're doing 16 haircuts." And well, in reality, you got to think about it. All right, let's just say, you know, I do 45-minute haircuts and this guy does 30-minute haircuts. You know, in the 45 minutes, I can do about, I think, 11 or 12 haircuts, and in an 8-hour period, right? And this person, he can do 16 haircuts in an 8-hour period because he does them in 30 minutes, correct? So let's just say we're both booked out. I'm doing 12, he's doing 16, and most people are like, "Damn, man, he did 16. That's a lot. You did 12. Okay, that's a little bit lower. That's more manageable." But think about this, man. At the end of the day, we're still cutting hair. We're still on our feet for 8 hours every single day. So in my eyes, all he did was he utilized his time better because he was able to do more haircuts in the same time I was only able to do 12. So in order to get 30-minute haircuts, it is a skill. It's not easy. You know what I mean? I, at the moment, cannot do 30-minute haircuts. It's something that I'm working on, but I'm not really focused on time right now. I'm more focused on the quality. How can I get the person in my chair to come back? Eventually, I'll be busy enough to where, you know, I'll finish these haircuts even faster, and then eventually I'll be at 30 minutes. But being able to do haircuts in 30 minutes is a skill, so you do need to develop that skill. And to be able to give a quality haircut in 30 minutes, like I said, that's a very good skill that you need. If you want to make this, you're going to have. But, you know, how are you going to get booked? A lot of people are like, "Man, getting booked is not easy, man." Well, one, you got to make sure you're in the right environment, man. Are you around people, you know, that are booked? Are you in a situation where, man, you're getting enough clients? If you're getting enough walk-ins, and if you're getting enough walk-ins, then now you got to start asking, how do I keep those clients? How do I keep them to come back to me instead of leave and go to a new barber? You know, one of them is your haircut. You need to make sure your haircut is well. 2, you need to have a great conversation, good customer service. A lot of people, you know, get mad because somebody didn't show up, and they're, "Oh, you know what, that's a no-call, no-show fee," and they charge them for the haircut. Well, guess what? That person probably isn't going to come back. You know what I mean? I'm not saying to tolerate it, but there's a certain point, if you're trying to grow, that you need to learn how to tolerate that things to keep people coming back. You know, are you passing out flyers? Are you going out and telling people that you're a barber? Are you willing to give somebody your first haircut free to gain a new client? Are you in a position? You got to be able to do these things. You know, and depending on how many things you're willing to do, that's how fast you're gonna get booked. But you need to go out there, try to find the clients to get booked, and the only way to do that really is by how hard you're willing to work, man. If you're not willing to do some of these things that I have told you, well then, you know, I'm not saying you can't get booked, but it will take you a long time. It will seem impossible because you're not willing to put that hard work in. Making sure you're in a good shop where there are people. You don't need it to be the busiest shop. You don't. You just need it to be a steady shop where, you know, I would say at least 5 haircuts a day. And if you can retain at least 2 of those a day, you think about the math. If you need 160 clients at every 2 weeks to be booked out at the level I was telling you, you know, 80 a week. If you need 160 clients to come every 2 weeks, think about that. If you do 2 a day, that's like 80 days. That's 3 months if you're able to do 2 a day. Now, that's kind of an outrageous number to be able to retain 2 a day, but start finding ways on how you can make people come back, you know, two people a day. And that is how you're going to grow a clientele like this. Like I said, it's not that easy. You got to put a lot more work in and stuff like that, but that's the idea. And get booked. I have a whole YouTube video on how you guys can get booked. I don't want to go too much deep into the topic, but that is how you get booked, and those were the numbers. So I gave you guys the numbers, and that is my plan on how to make 100,000 in 2022. But now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the numbers. Once you get booked, and now we're going to talk about raising prices. Now, I mentioned earlier I don't really care to raise prices because I don't really care, you know, to get it from my clients. But there does come a point where it is reasonable to raise your price. And it's not because, hey, I'm worth more, or just because all of a sudden, you know, I don't want to make more money. That's not the reason why. Once you start to get to a point where you're booked every single week, and you're booked out in weeks in advance, and there's people, like I said, all these numbers that I was giving you are without tips. That's you making $30 without any tips whatsoever, right? You're making 120, I think, 4,000 without any tips whatsoever. In a real world, you're gonna get tips. In the real world, you're gonna get a lot of tips. And the point as I'm trying to make is that you're gonna make a lot more than that number. But there's gonna be always people that are willing to pay you more because they really enjoy you and they're just willing to pay you more. And 2, they want to support you and help you and stuff like that. And they really want their haircut by you. And so what ends up happening is you're gonna have cheaper clients and you're gonna have more, you know, expensive ones, people that are willing to pay you more. You know, even though you charge 30, they're giving you 40, they're giving you 45, they're giving you 50. Now, obviously, you want to keep the more expensive ones, right? And there's going to be a point in time where you're so busy that somebody that's willing to pay you more is going to want to spot that somebody who's paying less, you know, giving you exactly 30. They want that spot, but that person already took it. And what you don't want is them to be like, oh, you know, whatever, like, and just leave and go somewhere else, because those are your high-paying clients. You want to keep those people. And now you're at a point where you can kind of be a little bit more pickier because you have so much. You know what I mean? Now you want to lose some of the cheaper ones and keep the more expensive ones, people that are willing to pay you more. So what do? You look at the next available spot and it's 2 weeks from now. You know, what is that person going to do? They're going to leave. So what you end up having to do in this situation, even though that person's willing to pay you $50, $60, and this person, you know, he's only paying $30 for that slot, you know, who are you going to want? You're going to want the more expensive one. But you can't just tell this person, oh, I'm not going to cut you and take him. You're not going to do it. If you're doing that, you're not going to get to 100,000, trust me. But you have to value everybody's time. But the way to do this in the right way is, what you end up doing is because you have people that are willing to pay more for that spot, and you have so very limited spots, you only have 80 slots in a week, you need to raise your price, and you raise it to $40. You don't want to raise it small. If I'm charging 30, you're going to want to raise to 40. If you're charging 40, then you want to raise to 50. And there comes to a point where you're going to be at the market cap, you know, how much you can charge, and that's kind of when you know when you're going to cool down a little bit, right? But only you know that for your market, because this can be anywhere, is that you need to be you need to retain those more high-paying clients. So you're going to end up charging, you know, $10 more. What's that going to do? The people that at $30 that were only paying you 30, majority of them, I'm not going to say all of them, but some of them are like, you know what, that's a little too much. You know, I might have to go somewhere else. And you say, yeah, man, that's perfectly fine. I understand, you know, wish them the best and let them go. And so you should lose about 80% of your client. Not 80%. You should retain 80% and lose 20%. So let's just give you the numbers. So let's just say you did 20% of what you're currently doing. So you're going to do 80 times 0.80. And the reason why you're doing 80 is because you're doing 80 haircuts a week, and you're multiplying that 0.8 because that's how much you're keeping. Oh, man. And you're multiplying it by 80% because that's how much you're keeping. So you do that. You're now doing 64 haircuts a week because you lost 20%, right? So now we're going to do all our new math with 64. Because you raised your price and you lost 20%, you're going to be charging 40 now. Times that's 64 a week, right? 64. You're making 25.60. If you remember, you were making before 2,400. So we'll do the math. 80 times 30. You were making this much even though you're doing 80 haircuts. Now you're doing 64 and you're making more. And what this ends up doing is you have 16 haircuts you can still fill up. And you're going to fill them up with people who are going to pay 40. You get what I'm saying? So you're making more, you're cutting less. You get what I mean? This is you're cutting 80, but you're still charging 30. You're making more money, you're cutting less. You get what I'm saying? Number, it's 25.60, sorry. 25.60 times 52 weeks in a year. This is how much you're making yearly, and you're cutting so much less. Now, the point that I'm trying to make is you're going to be doing less haircuts. You're going to keep the people that are willing to pay you more, and you're going to get rid of the ones that are not. Now, you're not going to just stay at, 64 haircuts a week. Just because you lose 20% doesn't mean that you're going to stay, with only 80% of your clients. What you're going to end up doing is you're going to fill those spots up again. Because you have open time, you're going to be able to cut new people, and they're going to know you at your new price. So they're going to be like, oh, you charge 40? Man, you're worth so much more. I'll pay 50. And they're going to be coming in at that $40 price, and there's going to be people that are willing to pay $40. So what does that look like once you get booked at 40? Because you will eventually. This is what it looks like to get booked at $40. Now, 40 times 80 haircuts a week. Once you get booked out again, because it's going to happen. If you got booked out at 30, it's only a matter of time before you get booked out at 40. So this is how much you're making weekly. 3,200 times 52 weeks out of the year. This is 166,000. Now that's just by doing a $10 increase. You know what I mean? So, like I said, you guys can see how lucrative this is. $10 increase ended up making you another $40,000 a year. So you can imagine how much another $10 increase would do. You're making somewhere around $200,000. But this is without tip, guys. You got to remember, this is without tip. I don't know how many, if you guys are barbers, you guys know how much you're making with tip. And now this is not me telling you, oh, raise your price. But this is me telling you, when you follow this formula, this is going to happen. If you got booked out at 30, I promise you, you're going to get booked out at 40. And what's going to end up happening is you're going to have to raise again, because people are going to be willing to pay more than 40. And people that are only paying 40 are going to be taking those slots. And what do? You need to put those people in place to be able to get a haircut with you that are willing to pay more. So you're going to have to raise to 50. And let's just say you're at 50. And I'm going to show you guys the numbers for 50. So once you got to a point where you're booked out at $40 and you're doing 80 haircuts, now you're going to be doing 50. No, remember, let's do it again. 8 times 0.80 is 64, remember? So you're going to you're charging 50 because you went by a $10 increase at your current last price. So now you're at 50 times 64, and this is every week. Now you're making the exact same as you were before. Oh, snap. But now you're making the exact same you were before, but you're doing less haircuts at $40. And the point is that at this point, what you're focused on now is not making more money, but you're going to be able to fill the 20% with that new rate. People that are going to pay 50. And like I said, if you did 40, bro, it's going to happen at 50. It's just a matter of time. So, let me show you guys how much it is to be booked out and charging $50. $50 times 80 haircuts is 4,000, right? Because you're charging 50 times 52 weeks out of the year, and this is 200,000. Now that is with you working every single week of the year, and I don't think most of you guys want to do that, and I wouldn't suggest it. So let's just say you're taking 2 weeks off a year. If you're taking 2 weeks off a year, like I said, 50 times 80 times 50 weeks. You're making exactly 200,000. So guys, the point that I'm trying to make here, guys, is that these numbers may seem crazy to you, but it's so doable. All you got to do is just focus on one thing at a time. Focus on how to get booked at $30, and then once you're too booked and people are willing to pay more, fill those spots in with people who are willing to pay more. And the only way to do that is by increasing your rate. And once you've done that, it's going to happen again and snowball until eventually you're at a point where you're at the top of your market, and people just aren't willing to pay $1,000 for a haircut, trust me. And you may be able to charge 100. I don't know. It depends on where your market is and what you have to offer. Your clients are going to determine whether you're worth these prices. So if you're doing what I'm saying, the reason I tell you if you're able to get booked at 30, you're going to be able to get booked at 40 is because you have all the qualities to why somebody is going to want to be, want a haircut by you. And it's very doable. And the reason why, it's because you have certain qualities that they want to come back, and it's bigger than just a haircut at that point. But that is my plan, guys. I wanted to show you guys above because I want you guys to think bigger than just 100,000, man. I want you guys to think so high that you can't even bear it. Like, you could never think you could make any type of money. And this is just strictly with behind the chair cutting hair. And I hope this got you excited for your barbering career, or maybe if you're already a barber and maybe you haven't seen results and you're not sure. Like I said, I have plenty of videos on how to get booked as a barber. And so these are just ideas and theories, but trust me, I fact-checked myself, and I know who I got this information from. And it's not, it's like I said, I haven't done it yet, but I know who I got my information from, that this is not just, it didn't just sporadically come in my head and I was like, oh, this is going to work. Trust me, man, there's a method on how to do it. And I hope every single one of you guys hit 100,000 as a barber, because that would just be amazing, man. I mean, that would just be absolutely great. And I know every single one of you guys can. So this has been Too Bleen. I hope you guys have a great rest of your guys' day. I hope you guys took something valuable from this. And man, just keep doing y'all thing, man. I wish the absolute best for every single one of you. And at the end of the day, bro, whether you make $1 million or not, as long as you're happy, bro, that's the one thing that really matters. So focus on that before anything else. But this is my plan to make 100,000 in 2022. So peace out, guys. Enjoy the rest of your guys' day. Peace.